Let's talk 342265. Called Hokainiwa no Hoshizura. The artist of this doujin is Sorai Shinya, with only 2 tags, that being soul female and male. This is going to be interesting. The first page shows us our main 2 protagonists, talking about how they were named. Our main female was named Haruka, and she was named from her mother looking up at the stars, wishing for a star to be connected to someone, no matter how far that star is. So she wants to be connected forever with our main male character, so he tells her that they'll always be together. We cut to a time in the future where we see Haruka lying in bed with an IV in her arm. She wakes up and sees our male lead reading a book. Haruka thinks it was a dream, what we just saw. She's dreaming about the time they went to go see the stars that one time. We get backstory as to why Haruka is in the hospital now. She collapsed suddenly a few years ago and was admitted to the hospital. Her body was so weak that she couldn't go outside by herself. The doctors told them her condition is unlikely to get better. Haruka wasn't told explicitly, but could tell based on their reactions. So Haruka, in tears, tells Satoru that she wants to see the stars like they did before. Those words left Satoru restless. He took out all of his savings from his part-time job and took her outside. Satoru is being extra cautious with her, but Haruka is having the time of her life just being away from the hospital. So Satoru tells her to rest until they get to the station and has an inner monologue. Going on a trip is probably the worst thing they can do for her health, but he didn't have the heart to say no to her wish. He doesn't want her to make the same face again. They get out of the taxi and Haruka apologizes. Because she wanted to get out, it cost a lot, so she'll use the money in her piggy bank to pay him back. But Satoru just pats her on the head and says don't worry about it, because Haruka's not the only one who wanted to get out together. And to change the topic, he tells her to think about how much it would cost for their honeymoon. That gets Haruka flustered, and it's a nice relief from the dark atmosphere taken up. We cut to them on a plane, and Haruka is having an inner monologue. She says that she really does want to marry Satoru, but she feels she won't be around for when that day comes. But she's happy that he thought about sharing a future with her. We cut to them at a viewing area, and them reminiscing on how it was. It would be better if it wasn't raining though. Satoru has high hopes, hoping there was at least one nice day in the raining season, but he checks the forecast and it's just rain. So he puts away his phone and they go to the lodge. They arrive and the first thing we see them notice is that their room has an open air bath. Haruka already doesn't want to go home. We get some more dialogue, but we get a cut to where we see Haruka about to cry and hugging Satoru, saying thank you. It's still raining, so they take a bath, eat, and go to bed. Satoru goes to do laundry, telling Haruka that if she needs anything, call him. 5 days have passed, and it's still raining, and he's starting to run thin on cash. He could stretch it out one more day, but he's worried something will happen. He just wants it to be half a day, or maybe even an hour, but Haruka says they should go back. Satoru has done enough for her. She couldn't see the stars, but she'll never forget this. Satoru gives another inner monologue again, saying that you can enjoy a journey because you have a home to return to at the end, but he doesn't help but hope the trip could last forever. They change hotels, but this time the bed is big enough for the 2 of them. Satoru's budget allows them to only stay for 1 more night, so he wants to gamble everything on today. Haruka wants to go out. Even if it's raining, she wants to see it again with him by her side, to the place they have memories. They go up to the viewing area and reminisce again, talking about how Satoru's name comes from the word resolution. So they sit down and watch the rainfall. She says thank you, and she's happy with this. So they go back to the hotel, and she has a fever. Satoru isn't really surprised, seeing as she hasn't been getting treated, but in the end, he couldn't grant her wish. He's starting to lose confidence he once had in the beginning, and starts to wonder if he made the right choice. But we get a cut to see Haruka sitting over Satoru as he fell asleep. Her fever has gone down. Satoru thinks they should go take a bath, but Haruka has something else in mind. She wants to have a good time with Satoru. This startles him, but she already knows what he's gonna say. She doesn't care, because she's about to lose all the time they have spent together. It makes her so lonely and afraid that she can't bear it. So Haruka wants to prove that she's been with Satoru, and so that she can say she was strong until the very end. So Satoru does this, but Haruka has to make a promise that she'll tell him if he's being too rough and not to push herself. She gives a pouty face, and then they start to kiss. They do, but there's something dripping, and it's not because of him releasing, but because of him crying. Haruka tries to say that she's fine and she won't be going anywhere, so don't cry. He stops, but starts to have yet another inner monologue, this time thinking about how she'll be gone, but they end the do and push a button in the room. The button they pushed illuminated the room with stars. The pure joy of Haruka being able to see the stars, even if they were fake was enough to make Satoru cry again. They went back to the hotel the next day and were back to their normal lives. And once the season changed to winter, Haruka had passed away. So in order to grant her wish, Satoru went back to where it all began. While having a conversation in his head, he says that he doesn't think any stars could beat the beautiful stars we saw in that miniature garden together. And the doujin ends with a page of Haruka saying that they'll still always be together, just like before. Normally I would give a rating to the doujins I have read, but that would be an injustice to this masterpiece. The final few pages are an author's note from Shinya, talking about his own personal life, and when he was doing this work, his mother got ill from the pandemic, and goes on to explain how death will approach anyone and will hurt no matter how mentally prepared you are, only adding to the masterpiece this doujin is. And it even has a life memento in it. If you want to feel pain, read a good love story, or just in the mood, read this. You won't regret it. And this has been the hentai that made me cry. That's all I got. I'll see you in the next one.
Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul. These hentai babes make me drool. Hatsune Miku is great. She makes me masturbate. Fairy tale.